bad news. Which do you want first? Bad news? Great. The government is delaying some tax refunds this year. But here's the good news. If you file your taxes with Block, you could get an advance on your refund of up to $1,250, no interest, after you file. Come in today or make an appointment at hrblock.com. Don't just get your taxes done. Get your taxes won with H&R Block.
Optional tax refund related loan from MetaBank. Not your tax refund. $500, $750, or $1,250 loans offered. Approval and loan amount based on estimated refund and other conditions. Funds loaded on prepaid card. Tax returns may be e-filed without applying for this loan. Fees for other optional products or product features may apply. Limited time at participating locations. See hrblock.com/loan for details.
Visit our Jesup H&R Block today and find out how you can file your taxes with no money out of pocket with our refund anticipation check. Local news on WIFO.
It's time now for a look latest in local news. In the news, the murder trial this week at the Wayne County Courthouse ends in a mistrial, as on Wednesday the jury deliberated from 4:10 to about 9:15 evening before sending a note to Judge Roger Lane that they wanted to come back on Thursday morning. But it became obvious that no progress was being made Thursday morning either, and by 11 a.m. it was agreed upon by both the state and the prosecution that there was no need to keep the jurors any longer for Judge Roger Lane to declare the mistrial and release the jury. The defendant, Robert Donald Rogers, age 41, remains in custody, still charged with the shooting death of Richard Trantham, who was 30 years old at the time of his death, leaving behind 3 children who were in court during the trial along with his father. The state says a new trial date will be set, and WIFO film will continue to follow the story as it develops. The defendant's family also in the courtroom all week. The defense attorney, Grayson Lane, out of Brunswick, Georgia, telling the jury on Thursday in his close that it's been a privilege defending his client, telling the jury that Robert Donald Rogers is a good, kind, gentle person and could not possibly commit this murder. After the mistrial, WIFO-FM had a chance to talk with attorney Grayson Lane and get his comments about the hung jury.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say that I've tried cases all over the Blue Moon. I have never seen hospitality, kindnesses extended, patience extended, courteousness, etc., any more profoundly in all my almost 5 years of practicing criminal defense law than I have encountered here in this courthouse in this trial. By that I mean nothing whatsoever that would be in any way inappropriate, or everything was extended to everybody completely equally in terms of accommodation and kindness and patience and yeah, come on, and you can have a seat, yeah, you can bring that in if you need to, etc. Right up to giving some nutrition last night when we were waiting till the wee hours. It was a blessing and welcomed. The sheriff's department, the bailiffs, the clerk, and her office, the judge, his staff, the prosecutor himself, John Johnson, long friend of mine and extremely capable lawyer. Everybody was just doing their best to be advocates and professional, and I can't pay a big enough compliment to Wayne County on the way everything was handled, the way the jury was treated, everybody. Outstanding.
You mentioned you've been doing this a long time. It ends in a mistrial, hung jury. Is that considered a win by the defense?
Not by me. I've heard some defense lawyers who like to make that claim. A defendant who goes right straight back to the jail to square one doesn't feel that way, obviously, does he? And then I never have really considered that in any way a victory. It means that all we got here is just there was a shot over the bow and it hit the water. And we got to go back to starting point and go again. And it's very difficult to do that emotionally and intellect, every other way, for the prosecutor, for the defense, for judges, for everybody. It's a real strain to retry a case, real strain.
You know the case a lot better than I do, and you listen to all the evidence, you cross-examine witnesses, brought witnesses to the stand. In fact, the defendant testifies well. Is there one thing to your mind that might have hung the jury up, or several things?
I think there's several things. I think that Robbie Rogers has treated an awful lot of people in this county with kindness and generosity. I think his mother and his family are just really well-liked, wonderful people. I think all of that, a lot of that came out in voir dire, a lot of that came out from witnesses or in the trial of the case, and it makes it difficult to look at him and say that he could be guilty of just cold-blooded, malicious killing. That's an obstacle, I suppose, to the jury in a case like this. It would be to me, and I think it would have been involved in this jury's deliberations at some point. What finally hung them up, I have no idea. I do think that this jury was a good jury. Whatever the split was, whatever it is, I don't know. I think it's a good jury. I think they were dedicated. They did not take any cheap route out of here. 10 o'clock last night, they worked hard. They came in and rewatched important but somewhat difficult evidence to have to go through again on video and audio, and made copious notes. They really paid unusual attention. I give that jury that we had in this case absolute A+ for attention and for being what the system's supposed to be about in the way of doing the best they can. It's that jury's decision. It's not mine, it's not yours, not anybody else's. It's theirs. And they're the ones who worked hard and took that oath very seriously in this case.
Okay, we appreciate you talking with us.
Thank you.
And again, those comments, defense attorney Grayson Lane, who had his client testify in this murder trial. We'll come back with that testimony, other news from the trial after these commercial messages, so please stay tuned.
Communication is the key when it comes to business, especially your financial business. That's why Altamaha Federal Credit Union makes communication a priority, making banking easier for you. AFCU has money to lend, and it's easy to apply online or with a quick phone call. Your local credit union with open lines of communication. Altamaha Federal Credit Union, Jesup, Scriven, and Ludowici. Visit altamaha.org. Equal housing lender, federally insured by NCUA.
Morton Collision is located at 1320 West Pine Street in Jesup. Morton's offers free estimates, 23-hour towing, and they guarantee their work. Call 427-3769 or after hours 912-294-6140. The staff at Morton Collision Center works with all insurance companies. So for guaranteed work with a qualified staff, go to Morton Collision at 1320 West Pine Street in Jesup. Morton Collision, quality you can see.
When further treatment is no longer an option, hospice can provide services to manage symptoms and difficulties caused by illness. Emotional, psychosocial, and spiritual care, as well as support to the families and caregivers, are all part of hospice care. Hospice of South Georgia has been a part of the health community in Wayne and surrounding counties for over 13 years. The professional yet compassionate attention provided by our staff is unsurpassed. Widely supported by donations from the local population, Hospice of South Georgia is the only nonprofit hospice in Wayne County. Our new administrative offices, located at 1625 Sunset Boulevard, have opened recently as Phase 1 of our building project. Hospice of South Georgia accepts anyone who meets hospice criteria, regardless of their ability to pay. Please call 912-588-0080 to speak to someone about hospice care. That was 912-588-0080. We are your hometown hospice, and we are here to serve you. Hospice of South Georgia, working to add life to your days.
In the murder trial that occurred this week at the Wayne County Courthouse, it ends with a hung jury in a mistrial. Defense attorney Grayson Lane had his client, Robert Donald Rogers, take the witness stand and deny shooting and killing the victim in this case, Richard Trantham. The shooting occurred the night of March 26, 2016, Easter weekend, and Trantham was shot in the back while he walked on his back porch at his trailer. In testifying Wednesday, Rogers admits to everything that he says in his taped interview with the GBI agent Richard Dial, with the exception of shooting Trantham. In the taped interview the jury listened to twice, once during the trial and once in deliberations, Rogers tells the GBI agent Dial that he did in fact shoot Trantham, but he did not intend to. He just went to see Trantham to scare him and send him a message because Rogers found out that Trantham had stolen from him. In the taped interview with the GBI, Rogers tells the GBI that he was aiming at the porch light and missed and struck Trantham instead, but on the witness stand he denied ever having a gun. Also in the interview with the agent, Rogers tells the GBI agent that he used a rifle with a scope the night of the shooting. This is the first time during the GBI's investigation that they learned that a rifle and not a shotgun was used in the killing. In fact, Agent Dow on the tape questions the use of a rifle because they believed it was a shotgun, and when he questions the use of a rifle, Rogers tells him on the tape, quote, "I'm not lying," end quote. The weapon used the night of the shooting was never found. Defense Attorney Grayson Lane made an issue of that fact, asking Agent Dow when he testified why didn't the GBI get a search warrant for Rogers' home and conduct a search for the weapon. Agent Dow answered and explained to the jury that he has to have probable cause, that he simply cannot go and search Rogers' house because that would be a violation of Rogers' rights. But in his closing argument to the jury, Attorney Lane emphasized this to the jury, stating you can assure yourself that in a murder case where the murder weapon is missing, that a GBI agent can get a search warrant 10,000 times out of 10,001 to go search the defendant's home. Attorney Lane says that's absurd that they're telling you they couldn't get a search warrant. Once again, the jury cannot reach a verdict after hours of deliberations, so the defendant heads back to a prison cell while the state looks for another trial date. Again, one final note in the case, a second suspect in this murder, Andy O'Quinn, who was in town for Easter weekend and was the man who picked up Rogers at the Caveville store and drove him out to the Trantham residence, testified in this case as well on Tuesday, and for his testimony in this case, it was revealed that he has accepted a plea deal from the state for 10 years, served 5 in prison, with given credit for time served, which is almost a year to date. He pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit murder in this crime, the shooting death of Richard Trantham. O'Quinn appeared in his prison uniform in court as he is already serving time for his crime. Video surveillance was shown to the jury on the night in question of O'Quinn picking up Rogers at the Caveville store parking lot and driving off together in O'Quinn's vehicle. O'Quinn testified that he dropped Rogers off before they got to the Trantham's trailer, and he testified that he walked inside the Trantham trailer, walked outside with Trantham to O'Quinn's vehicle, and that Trantham reached inside to get 2 Percocet pills from his vehicle. O'Quinn says he simply drove off and never heard a shot fired. That was his testimony in court. The state's case this week was that O'Quinn's role was to lure Trantham outside of the trailer so Rogers could shoot and kill Richard Trantham. The state's case is that it was Rogers who shot and killed Richard Trantham, and the GBI's taped interview with Rogers has Rogers admitting to the shooting. But Rogers in court again testified that simply gave the agent what he wanted to hear because he testified that Agent Dow had his mind already made up and had his agenda. Assistant DA John B. Johnson in the close told the jury that Rogers on the witness stand admitted to everything the state's evidence in the case shows, with the exception of the one thing he cannot admit to, and that is shooting and killing the victim. In his close, Johnson told the jury that Rogers isn't a good, kind man, as defense attorney Grayson Lane told him. No, Johnson told the jury in his closing argument that Rogers is simply a criminal with a long history of convictions, and Johnson says he's the man who murdered Richard Trantham. Once again, a hung jury. The trial ends with the jury being sent home and the state seeking a new trial date. Again, Rogers remains in custody, still facing the charge of murder in the death of Richard Trantham. We'll be back with some final news notes after this word from our sponsor and other commercial messages, so please stay tuned.
Communication is the key when it comes to business, especially your financial business. That's why Altamaha Federal Credit Union makes communication a priority, making banking easier for you. AFCU has money to lend, and it's easy to apply online or with a quick phone call. Your local credit union with open lines of communication. Altamaha Federal Credit Union, Jesup, Scriven, and Ludowici. Visit altamaha.org. Equal housing lender, federally insured by NCUA.
Emmanuel Baptist Church in Jesup invites you to experience Warmth in the Winter this Saturday and Sunday. It will be an evangelistic weekend with Pastor Kurt Bacon. Services are planned for Saturday, February 4th at 7 p.m. and Sunday, February 5th at 10:40 a.m. Emmanuel Baptist Church is located at 1618 Waycross Highway in Jesup. For more information, you can call Emmanuel Baptist Church at 427-4322 or visit them on Facebook. You'll score a touchdown for your grocery bill with big game deals from your Jesup Piggly Wiggly, your hometown supermarket. Check out these great deals at Piggly Wiggly. Fresh chicken leg quarters, the big 10-pound bag, only $3.90. Family pack of economy T-bone steaks, just $3.79 a pound. Fresh chicken drumsticks, a low 48 cents a pound. Fresh chicken thighs, only 58 cents a pound. Boston Butt Country Style Ribs, $1.88 a pound. And fresh baby back pork ribs, just $2.39 a pound. Other big game deals at Piggly Wiggly, the 18-pack of Miller Coors of Budweiser beer, a low $14.99. The 18-pack of Ice House Busch or Busch Light beer, just $12.99. And fresh chicken wings, only $2.49 a pound. And check Piggly Wiggly's Deli Bakery for super specials on meals already cooked and ready to take home. Open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Your hometown store, Jesup Piggly Wiggly, 440 West Cherry Street.
Final notes in the news. Funeral services for 79-year-old Don Miller are set for this Saturday morning at 11 a.m. at Unity Church of God, with Pastor Calvin Anderson, Reverend John Fender, and Bishop George Moxley officiating. Visitation will be held before the funeral at the church from 9 to 11 a.m. Saturday. Brownhart & Sons Funeral Home is in charge of the arrangements. Don Miller passed away on Wednesday, February 1st in Candler Hospital after a short illness. The full obit on our obituary announcements this afternoon. And Don Miller, a member of the Wayne County Sports Hall of Fame, also a sports enthusiast, also a member of Odom's Hall of Fame, Bruton Parker's Hall of Fame, and Stetson Hall of Fame. He attended both Bruton Parker and Stetson as an athlete, lettering in 3 sports at Bruton Parker and 4 at Stetson University. Once again, Don Miller passing away at the age of 79. The funeral again set for Saturday at 11 a.m. at Unity Church of God. Again, visitation that morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Wayne County Commissioner set to meet Monday. The agenda is out. The meeting set for 7 p.m. at the County Commissioner's meeting room. On the agenda, under Citizens' Concerns, Attorney Laura Roberts regarding no ash at all regarding the landfill. Peggy Regan's on the agenda under Citizens' Concerns regarding coal ash issue, and Republic Services on the agenda under Citizens' Concerns. Under new business, consider and approve a beer and wine license for Clyde's Market, discussion of vacation leave and sick leave. Also, there's a Solid Waste Authority Board appointment on the agenda, items with the administrator, items with the commissioners, also an executive session for a legal issue. All that's set for Monday at 7 p.m., again, at the County Commissioners meeting room. Finally, in the news, don't forget Altamont Classic Cruisers having their monthly cruise-in Saturday, February 4th at Hardee's. Gets underway at 5:30. Registration, which is free, begins at that time. Music provided by Old School Music. Again, applications will be available for new members, and the public is always welcome. That's Saturday, 5:30 at Hardee's. That's going to do it for latest in local news. Sports comes your way in a few minutes. Bob Morganson, have a great day.
You've been listening to local news on WIFO.
Whether you need a paint job or accident repair, call the folks at B&C Collision Center in Scriven to help you out in your